Good morning, everyone. Yeah, it's still morning. I had to check and make sure it wasn't like lunchtime or something. But I wanted to jump on here and do a little video. I may have to get up and cut the fan on because I cut the fan off because it was making some noises. But I wanted to jump on here and I had a little message that kind of popped up in my head this morning. And I wanted to share that with you guys. Normally I don't write my stuff out. Normally I just try to speak in person. In just a second. Normally I just try to speak in person. And not in person, but without any notes or anything. So this morning I was like, let me write this out. Get it all out of my head. Because sometimes when I start speaking without any notes or something, I kind of go all over the place. I lose track of the message that I was trying to talk about, and I get distracted sometimes, and I just kind of go all over the place. But I wanted to have it ready to go, and hold on. And actually stick to what I wanted to say. So with that being said, the title of this one is the words "I can't" limit us. Those two words, I can't. So many times we find ourselves saying, I can't do this, or I can't run like her, or I can't cook, I can't paint, I can't do whatever. Like sometimes we just think that we can't do something, and that's so not true. So like I said, I've got notes here that I wrote down, that way I can kind of stick to what I wanted to talk about. And when I first started this page, it wasn't called Raw. It had the same initials, kind of, but it was called Running Around with Chrissy. And my nickname is Chrissy, and Running Around with is the initials RAW, Raw. But Raw is the format that I shoot my photos in. Hey Megan, how are you this morning? Raw is the format that I shoot my photos in. It's basically the unfiltered, the raw image, the flaws, everything that has not been edited. So that's where Raw comes in. But before this page became Raw, it was Running Around with Chrissy, and basically the initials were RAWK, R-A-W-K. But I started it because all around me I was hearing stories of women that were just kind of stuck in life, and they were just saying, I can't do this, I can't do this like her, I can't do that, oh my gosh, I can't lift those weights, I can't. And I spent a lot of time in the gym during those years, but in the gym I was hearing it, and the church I was hearing it, at work I was hearing it, from family members I was hearing it. I was always hearing I can't. And I realized that women all around me were resorting to this I can't mentality, because I believe that's what they knew that to be true for themselves. And so many times we think that we can't do something because we can't do it yet, or we haven't been able to accomplish it, or haven't been able to make it happen yet. But we take those words I can't and make it final. But we can't do that. We got to take those words out of our vocabulary. Those two words, I can't, limit us. They limit us from moving forward. They limit us from believing that we can actually do more. And when we say it, it becomes true. So if we keep saying it over and over, we keep saying it over and over, it does become our truth. And so I want to lead you guys back to a story. Like before I became a runner, after I had a child, in my 20s, when I was in high school, I tried out for track. I wanted to become a runner, I wanted to do track, and I thought that I could do it, right? So I get there and I try out for track, and they're saying, okay, I want you guys to go run around the block and come back. So I'm going, I'm fired up. I think we warmed up some, and then we start running. I forgot how long it was, but we start running. And then I'm trying to keep up with these people that I guess have been doing track for a while, or maybe have been running for a while, and I've never ran before in my life. And I'm trying to keep up with them. And I couldn't. I tried my best. I was out of breath. I was about to die. I was just thinking the worst case scenario. And the truth was, I had nobody telling me that in order to be able to run like this, you have to train for it. In order to be able to run distance, you have to train for it. You have to eat right. You have to do cross training, like, you know, not just running all the time. You have to do like bicycling, say weightlifting, strength training, rollerblading, just something to mix things up and not just straight running all the time. Although some people do straight running all the time. But I didn't have anybody telling me that it could be different than that. So in my mind, in my sight, from what I just saw, there's all these people running. They didn't look like they were about to die. They didn't look like they were having a hard time like I was. And so I thought to myself, I can't run. And that's what I told myself. So I never came back to even try out some more or to even see if I made the team or anything. I put in my mind that that was it. I couldn't run. And that was my truth for quite a few years. I didn't think I could run. I always went back to, well, I tried out for track and I was about to die and I can't do this. But the truth was, had I disciplined myself, had I tried harder, had I pushed myself, had I had a training plan, I could actually do it. And that was, you know, during the time where I literally thought that I can't, during that time when I tried out for track. And so many times we allow ourselves to be held back by our own limited thinking, and the truth is, maybe at this present moment, you're not able to. But, there's a but. With discipline, with patience, with practice, with consistency, all that, it all becomes easier after we keep trying, after we keep going, after we don't decide to stop, after we don't give up. It becomes easier. And before you know it, you realize that it's actually something that you are able to do, that you were able to do, that all along you're actually capable of doing this thing because you changed your way of thinking. Instead of thinking, I can't, you said, I'm going to try, or I may not be able to right now, or I'm not equipped just yet. Change your words. Don't just say, I can't. Change your words to something that's positive. I can't is kind of negative, and it creates that limit upon us. So a lot of the I can't mindset, I think, a lot of the I can't mindset comes when we're comparing ourselves to other people. You know, sometimes we see somebody that is a cake decorator, and they've got some amazing cakes, and they're a mom, and they are baking their kids' cakes, and they're throwing these parties, and they're doing all this stuff. And then we come back to ourselves and look at ourselves and like, well, I order my cakes from Publix, I hire somebody else to do the party, I do other stuff, and sometimes we compare ourselves and we think, well, I can't do that. There's two sides to this. The truth is, you can, if you wanted to. And the other part is, you don't have to do anything like anybody else. If you choose to get a cake from Publix, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you wanted to bake a cake, if you wanted to decorate for the party and do all this stuff, you could, if you set up the right amount of time, if you researched, if you tried, if you took some classes, if you, whatever you wanted to do. It's all about what you want to do, but don't just do something because somebody else is doing it. We all weren't supposed to be doing the same thing. And that's what my next thing was, like, and no, we're not meant to do everything and be like everyone else. Some people actually have a gift for certain things. Take a painter, for instance. Like if you wanted to learn how to paint, you could learn how to paint. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. It may not be like Picasso, but you could learn how to paint. You could take lessons. You could practice. You could take a class at, a college or local college, sometimes they have like continuing education classes. If one wanted to learn how to be a painter, they could actually learn. So many times we say, I can't paint. That's not quite true, because so many times we have those paint classes, like what are they called, bottles and brushes, or wine and dine, something like that. Those classes are basically beginner classes. People go in there not knowing how to paint, and when they leave, their painting is pretty darn awesome. And many times when they walk in the door, they didn't think that they could actually create something like that, but after some direction, after some practicing, after somebody telling them which colors to use, how this blends with that, they actually make it happen. And that's the thing with anything. If there was something that we wanted to know or learn how to do, we could actually do it. Instead of saying, I can't do it, try to find the steps, or just try to find a way to make it happen. Like if you wanted to get a job at a news broadcasting company, you wanted to go to school for journalism, and then you said, I can't find a job. Well, maybe you're not able to find a job right now, but keep working towards it. Don't give up. So back to the painting part, is like we weren't meant to be a Picasso. He was unique, and just like we are unique. So if we wanted, to do painting, sure, our paintings may not be like the best artists in the world. Those people have a true gift. That is many times their calling. We weren't called to do everything like everybody, but we can do something along the topic of what they can do. Sometimes we say, I can't. In our minds, we think, I can't lift like her. When I say lift, I mean lift weights. Say we go to the gym. We haven't been to the gym in a long time, or maybe never been to a gym at all, and you want it to become healthy. You see this girl in there, she is killing it. She's got 30-pound weights in both hands, maybe 40 pounds, 50 pounds, who knows. She's got all these weights in both hands, and she is just lifting back and forth, just going to town. She's rocking it out. You look at her, and you start comparing yourself to her. I wish I could lift like her. I can't lift like her. Well, I hope you don't go in the gym on your first day in there and try to lift 30 pounds, because it's just not possible. You don't have the muscle memory, you don't have the strength to lift that back and forth just yet. But when we start comparing ourselves like that, I mean, did you even take the time to think about how long she may have been lifting? She may have been lifting for 3 years. She's been disciplined to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. She wakes up early to, get to the gym and work on her strength training. She's been doing this for a while, but yet this is your first day, and you're thinking to yourself, I can't do this. Well, stop thinking that. If that's what you want to do, work your way towards it. I may not be able to do it today, but I can do it as I keep going. The end result is where I want to be. You work your way towards it, and then before you know it, you finally realize that you could do it all along. But it just took some steps to get there, almost like making a goal. Some of us want to have a business, but we don't think that we can run a business because we don't have management experience. It doesn't take management experience to run a business. It takes discipline. It takes baby steps. It takes standing firm on your beliefs. It takes a lot to run a business, but anyone can do it if they choose to. If they choose to. It's all a choice. We can choose to say I can't and limit ourselves, or we can choose to say I am not able to at this present moment, but if I keep at it, I will be able to soon. And just think about that. Just think about, going back to the girl at the gym, and if you were there watching her and you started comparing yourself to her, this would be your chapter 1. Your chapter 1. And that would be her chapter 25. If you were to get a book, would you jump from chapter 1 to chapter 15 or jump from chapter 2 to chapter 18. No, you would read the book chapter by chapter by chapter, so you would know the story. If it was a book that was actually teaching you something, you would know the steps on which way you needed to go. So don't compare yourself to somebody else's chapter 25 and you're on day 1 in chapter 1. And don't sit there and say, I can't, when you're on day 1 or chapter 1. So I think it's time for us to lift the limits that we place on ourselves and decide to go, decide to try, decide to push ourselves just a little bit harder, decide to be disciplined, decide to be consistent. All of this stuff is a choice, like I said earlier. We have to decide what we want to do. We have to decide if we want to do it. Sometimes we just look at other people and we just automatically say, I can't do that because yada yada yada. Stop it. Seriously, stop it. You weren't meant to be like them. Comparison is the thief of everything. And once we start that crap, it puts us in a little box of just living small, thinking small, being small. It puts us in a level of just staying down here when we weren't supposed to be down here. We're supposed to be up here. We're queens. We're real amazing women. Like, there is nothing about us that where we should be feeling defeated. No. God didn't die for us to feel defeated. Not God, I'm sorry. God didn't send Jesus to die on the cross for us to feel defeated. We're warriors. We're children of a king. And there's so much in store for us. So we have to decide what we're going to do. And most of all, decide to take the words, I can't, out of your vocabulary. I did that a long time ago, and there was times when I used to say I can't because I didn't know any better. I thought that just because I couldn't do something at this present moment, that I can't was my way. And that was going to be like that forever. But the truth is, anything is possible with God. And anything is possible if we try, if we train, if we just keep at it. Anything can be possible. So be open-minded instead of blocking your mind and thinking small. You were created to live a life of truth and greatness. And we all face different obstacles. We all have different things in our lives that happen that we have no control over. Sure, we all do. And there's no control over that, and we just have to kind of go with the flow. But don't allow your small thinking and allow self-defeat to be one of those obstacles. That's what holds you back. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.